I stood in line at the bakery, holding a custom-made cake box that said, "Will you marry me, Elise?" in delicate white frosting. I'd rehearsed this moment in my head 1,000 times. Tonight was supposed to be perfect. Elise thought we were just celebrating her birthday. She didn't know I had reserved the rooftop of the restaurant where we had our first date, hired a string quartet, and invited all of our closest friends and family. I even asked her father for permission. Old school, I know, but it mattered to me. I had planned every detail. I wanted her to feel loved, cherished, chosen, but something had felt off the past few weeks. Elise had been distant. She said work had her swamped. She missed dinners, answered texts late, and didn't seem interested in talking about the future anymore. I chalked it up to stress. I told myself not to be paranoid, but deep down, I felt something cracking, and I was about to find out just how wrong I'd been. That evening, I arrived at the rooftop early. The staff helped me set up the fairy lights, the candles, and a projector that would play a video montage of our memories. Our first vacation, lazy Sunday mornings, silly dance-offs in the kitchen. I was so nervous, I could barely breathe. The ring sat in my jacket pocket, and every 5 minutes, I kept checking if it was still there. Our guests began arriving slowly. Her best friend, my parents, her little brother. Everyone was buzzing with excitement. I told them, she has no idea. And I believed that. God, I really believed that. I texted Elise to ask if she was close. She didn't answer. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 20. That's when her best friend pulled me aside, face pale, eyes wide. "Travis, you haven't seen Instagram, have you?" My stomach dropped. She showed me her phone. There was Elise, in a different city, in a different restaurant, with another man, smiling, holding up her left hand, wearing a brand new engagement ring, and the caption, "He asked, and I said yes. Forever." I couldn't feel my legs. The laughter, the music, the soft clinking of glasses around me. Everything just stopped. People were still smiling at me, waiting for Elise to walk in, expecting a magical moment. Meanwhile, my heart was being ripped apart in silence. Her best friend looked like she wanted to say more, but honestly, what else was there to say? The proof was in the picture. The ring, the man, the caption. She wasn't just engaged, she was engaged to someone else. And she had used the very same night I had chosen to propose, to announce it. I stepped away from the crowd, pulled out my phone, and opened her contact. No message, no explanation, nothing. Just a photo of her smiling with someone I had never seen before. I went back to the rooftop, everyone still waiting. My mom gave me a nervous smile. "Where is she?" she asked softly. "She's not coming," I said. That's all I could get out. I stood there in front of everyone I cared about and felt more humiliated than I'd ever been in my life. After I managed to quietly end the gathering and send everyone home, I sat alone on the rooftop with the ring box still in my jacket pocket. I didn't cry, not yet. I just sat there, trying to process what had just happened. My phone buzzed. It was her, Elise. She finally decided to call, hours after publicly announcing her engagement to someone else. I answered, but I didn't say a word. She spoke first. "Travis, I didn't know how to tell you." My throat tightened. "So you just didn't?" There was silence. Then she exhaled. "I was going to come tonight. I really was. But it all got so complicated, and then he proposed last week, and I thought, you thought it was okay to use the same night I planned to propose to you to show off your new ring," I snapped. She sounded defensive. "I didn't know you were proposing." "Oh, come on, Elise. I said, standing now, pacing the rooftop. You knew. Everyone knew. You even helped me pick out the venue. More silence. Then she whispered something that hit harder than the photo ever could. I didn't want to hurt you, Travis, but I love him. I have for a while. And that's when it finally sank in. This wasn't an accident. It was a choice. A betrayal months in the making, and I had been the last one to find out. The following day, I walked into my office like a ghost. No sleep, no appetite, just autopilot. Coworkers offered their usual nods, but something was different. The looks were different. Sympathetic, avoidant, guilty. Then came James, my buddy from HR. He pulled me aside, looking like he'd been waiting for this moment. Hey, Travis, I wanted to tell you earlier, man, I swear, but Elise made it clear she wanted to handle it herself. I blinked. You knew? He winced. Yeah, I mean, it was all over her social for a while. They didn't post photos of him directly at first, just vague captions like new beginnings or finally choosing happiness. But people figured it out. I felt a deep nausea creep in. So I was the last one to know, I said, barely above a whisper. He didn't argue, and that silence, that was my answer. Apparently, the entire building knew Elise had moved on, that she'd been dating someone else for months. And no one said a word, not even the ones I thought were my friends. It wasn't just her betrayal anymore. It was the world around me silently watching me plan a future with someone who had already left. They watched me rehearse the proposal speech in the break room. They watched me excitedly pick the restaurant. And no one stopped me. That night, I sat at home, the velvet ring box still on the kitchen table. Open, empty, just like me. I stared at it for hours. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't throw it against the wall like in the movies. I just sat there, completely numb. At some point, I opened my laptop. I typed her name into Facebook. There it was. Her engagement post, posted just minutes after she left the restaurant. She was smiling, hand on his chest, showing off my ring. The ring I chose. The one I saved for. The one I imagined slipping onto her finger for years. The caption read, "Sometimes the heart finds its way back to where it truly belongs." Thousands of likes, comments, hearts, mutual friends congratulating her. I scrolled endlessly, looking for a trace of guilt, a flicker of regret in her eyes. But she looked free, unburdened. Meanwhile, I was unraveling. Not just because she left me, but because she used the moment that was supposed to be ours to celebrate him. The ring had meant everything to me. To her, it was just leverage, a prop in the fantasy life she built outside of me. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't just betrayal. It was performance. She'd been planning this all along, and I had handed her the stage. The next morning, I did something I never thought I would. I put on the suit I had planned to wear that night. The one I had tailored weeks ago, the one still hanging by the door, untouched. I didn't wear it to impress anyone. I wore it for closure. I drove to the cafe where we used to meet on Sundays. It was neutral ground. Her sister worked there part-time, and I had a feeling she'd show up. Sure enough, an hour in, she walked through the door, alone. She froze when she saw me. Her expression flickered, shock, then discomfort, then the same polished, practiced smile. She sat across from me like nothing had happened. "Travis," she said sweetly, "you look good." "I'm not here to talk about how I look," I replied, calm, measured. "I just want to know why." She gave me a speech, said things moved fast, that she didn't expect it to happen, that she was confused and didn't want to hurt me. Then she said, I just followed my heart. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "No. You followed attention. You followed ego. You used me." She didn't deny it. She just stared back, biting her lip, trying to stay composed. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out the empty ring box. "I was going to ask you to be my wife," I said quietly. "Instead, you turned my moment into your announcement." And with that, I stood up. She reached out, maybe to explain more, maybe to apologize. I didn't give her the chance. That day, I didn't just walk out of a cafe. I walked out of a lie. Weeks passed. The texts stopped. The curiosity from friends faded. But the ache, that stayed a little longer. Then one Saturday, I took the ring box out of my drawer, not to mourn, but to remember. I had once thought that moment, my moment, was stolen from me. But I realized something standing there in my apartment, sunlight filtering through the blinds. She didn't take the moment. She just wasn't worthy of it. The proposal I had planned wasn't about her. It was about the life I was ready to build. I still want that life, just with someone who doesn't see love as a competition for attention. Since then, I've focused on rebuilding, on living honestly, on trusting my instincts, especially when something doesn't feel right. And next time, when I get down on one knee, it won't be at a party. It won't be in front of people who don't see me. It will be quiet. It will be sincere. And it will be with someone who never makes me question what love is supposed to feel like. Because now I know the right person doesn't hijack your story. They build it with you.